Kind of skipping throughout
child. You're your chipper child.
Yeah, standing above the darkness. La-di-da-di-da.
Yes, there's
True
a lot
story.
of things going on.
Yeah. Can't touch me though. I'm too high.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah. So welcome everyone. Call for the Truth, the Other Sun live stream, and today we're talking about consciousness.
Yes.
Is our theme today, and change your mind, change your reality, new thought, new life. And so our card pull today is the theme consciousness.
Yes.
And the maxim is what we thought yesterday, we do not have to choose to think tomorrow. We are the responsible party. We are responsible for our own experience. I want to read a little bit of excerpt from the book as well. Whole responsibility. Like, mic drop. So I'm looking forward to having this conversation because it feels like micro, macro as usual. Humanity needs to hear this, knowing that we don't have to be the same. We can be different. It's okay. You did what you did. Let's shift and pivot. And, in general, for the collective, yeah, we let them govern us. Yeah, we let them poison our food. Yeah, we let them trick us into thinking that Cheerios would give us a better heart and cardiovascular system, but no. We can choose differently.
Yes.
So before we begin, just a couple of announcements and welcome everyone to the live stream. We have just concluded Soul Translation.
Yes.
Freedom Release.
Yay.
Gaining back power. Give me that. That belongs to me. And so very wonderful experience. I think this would even be worth talking about or discussing at a later time, a little more in depth. But this idea of pulling back the parts of ourselves that have been given to institutions and various aspects of the system that just take just to participate. And so we have pulled that back, and for many, very visceral experience doing the reclaiming of our power within the classroom setting, and lots of really good feedback from people. Even like real time, there was a student, I'll name drop Ariel in the class. She's feeling excitement from the release and like happy, and then the energy rippled in the other room with her family, I think her mother, and just seeing the continuity of the field and how we change, everything changes, everything's impacted by us becoming or moving more into the truth of who we are.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. That particular incident is so rich. So Ariel's in the class, in the middle of receiving the activation to receive back her power. Her mother and her nephew are in another room, and at the same moment that the power comes back, her mother spontaneously is happier and giggles out loud. We should pay attention.
It's real in the field.
We should pay attention to that. It's very real. This is to be noted. It is to be something that should be talked about, that when you get back power, you become more joyful, more of whatever, more of all of the higher frequencies. And if you're just in the experience of, just kind of being, and power comes back into you and you feel who you really are, you are more, you are greater, you're what you were meant to be. And being able to bring that forward and let other people see it inspires us. They may not have known that when they call their power back, they could be delighted and excited and laughing and giggling too.
Yeah, there were moments where I was like, I didn't think it was going to be like this. This fountain of energy and life force raising up. And in tandem, I'll share this as well, in tandem with light body movement, the experience of the power coming back, there's more to work with. More energy flowing through the energy centers. And when I felt that geyser of life force move up, I was like, ooh-wee, I didn't know it was going to be like that, Belton.
So
you didn't put a disclaimer.
So it's more like remember in the old classrooms, they used to have those gray erasers that you used on the old chalkboards? It's more like, let me erase the darkness and let the light in. It's more like that. It's like, there was so much written on the board. I didn't even know all the things that were on the board. But I didn't know I had an eraser. I have just made room for all the new equations that will make my life better. Made room for all the light to come in.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah, it looked like that.
Yeah, it did.
It
Now we got our erasers. Now we are equipped to move forward. Like,
Yeah, and it really speaks to the idea today. But I'll wait till you're ready to talk about it.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. We're going to stick to the script. Right? All right. So, Soul Translation class will be coming back in the month of May. And I understand you're looking to do something new. Be on standby. We'll tell you once we hash it out. However, April, Quantum Light Property Clearing is making its way back. A level 1 class will be held for anyone who's looking to step into the power of this modality to inform the field, influence the atmosphere, your environment, reshape the memory that's broadcasting so that the environments may support us in our growth and evolution. So this is sovereignty, this is power, this is authority over our spaces. And we are running this throughout the month. Quantum Light Property Clearing class is 4 weeks. Thursdays and Saturdays from 6 to 9. So this is advance, and we're in there for about 3 hours each day. However, you want to step out with a cape, arms on your side, chest up, knowing that you can clear spaces and places remotely, and the power contained within the practice itself. You know, I often share with people that there's 2 things in my reality that I know will help give me the uptake that I need to continue to grow and evolve and move closer towards the light, which one of them is fasting, the other is quantum light property clearing. Energy hygiene is in between, but quantum light property clearing is energy hygiene but for the extended space. And those 2 things together, but again, that property clearing, when you clear, you are cleared. So there's an increase that happens. And one could say the same principle is when you do that physically. When you clean up the space, you feel the upliftment physically, right? And so it's even more of a thing energetically because the energetic plane is the causal influence of everything that's happening physically and materially. So we're going to have a really good time. And for anyone who's interested in auditing, come on back because you know the class will be different. Each class is always at a new level and new information being integrated. Also, we have tomorrow Quantum Light Property Clearing Chronicles.
Yes, I'm so excited. This was such an exciting introduction to bringing back the idea of telling you the stories. The stories that are involved in property clearing are stories that will open your mind to unknown understandings about how the universe actually works and what is actually going on in real time. As a property clearer, you cannot avoid knowing it. You can't avoid knowing the truth of the experience once you become a property clearer. And it opens up vistas that only, people who were studying esoteric matters would be aware of.
Yeah. A whole new world.
Yes.
And perception of reality.
Yes.
And it changed the game for me. You really get to see and understand because it's not as though we as humans have been walking around in a hypnotic state, hypnotized by the entrainment fields of the environment, not knowing it, but you see it. You understand the mechanics in quantum light property clearing, and you have something you can do about it. And that's one of the things that I love about what we do. Whenever we're speaking about something and identifying, let's say there's a threat in the field, something that needs to be addressed, there's always a solution. Never just leaving you hanging like, all right, there's something you need to be concerned about, figure it out. Like the people on TikTok, because they share information and leave you hanging. But anywho, so join us in this evolutionary process. And for anyone who feels inclined to have a quantum light property clearing, if there's something strange in your neighborhood, who are you going to call? Call us. Call us here out of the sun. And again, clearing energetic interferences, things that have happened from arguments, dramas that are impressed in the field, reinforming you, where you can't shake the thought. It's like, oh, I keep thinking about that argument. I keep thinking about that phone call. There's a lot of different reasons why we would want a clearing. But again, usually people feel the gravitational pull in their environment, stunting their growth. And that's a really good indicator that there's something there that's pulling you down, and property clearing is a solution. So you can find this on the website, and there's a couple of other things. We have, again, Quantum Light Property Clearing Chronicles is with Diane in Lakesh Studio under our High Frequency Living channel.
Yay.
And Lauren of the Sun will be there. Tiffany of the Sun will be there. These are other clearers and practitioners who give a very unique facet of the experience of property clearing. And so on the first Friday in April, Diane will be having her Evolutionary Book Club. She's going to have a guest speaker, Sonia Nilsson, and she recently released a book titled You Thing.
Yay.
Or as I like to say, You Thing. It's a You Thing. And so I'm going to read a little bio here. You Thing, Ancient Rejuvenation Practices in the Science of Longevity by Sonia Nilsson. It blends ancient wisdom like Essene teachings with modern science, microbiome, fasting, autophagy, to guide readers toward natural rejuvenation and vitality. And so there's so much that's here within it. Again, they're going to be diving into this next week. Is that next week? Yeah, next week Friday is the first Friday.
It's
There's
so
5 weeks.
it's so great to have her do that because we actually practice many of those things and have been practicing them for a long time. We understand the benefit. The ancients knew what they were doing in many cases.
Yeah.
And so we're in honor of that, and we welcome her to our book club with Diane.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Light Body Movement. First Sunday of April. We're taking a break on the 5th Sunday because it's every 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Sunday. So join us. We're activating the throat. Open the portal, the gateway. Influence in the field. I'm excited because there's realizations happening about like, this is technology. This is an instrument. And I'm like, oh my gosh, guidance. I'm pretty cool. We're cool. But we just, the more I see what we are, I see how far removed we are from the truth of who and what we are, and how that ignorance has been weaponized against us, not knowing the power of language. You often speak about, the slackness in which we speak and how we use words and how we talk to each other, not recognizing the power within it. And so we're about to dive into that.
Yes, every bit of that is relevant. It is so much more. The sound forms the letters which form the words, which are the living being of the experience that you're conveying with your voice. It's underrated.
Underrated, indeed. So I'm looking for it. I'm already in the space like, ooh, talk to me. Throat chakra consciousness. So first Sunday, and for anyone who's looking to join us in the Light Body Movement, it's not too late. It's all right. You can activate your throat too. However, also one last announcement for anyone who needs training or tutoring. If you're in Light Body and you're like, I need some help with integration, or maybe you've learned calibration and checking with your body, yes and no, receiving that information to navigate and discern, or you could use some assistance with quantum light property clearing, or even soul translation. Lauren of the Sun, our flower lady, she is our home base tutor. And so she can assist you at any level that you're at. And so this is also available on the website as well. And that's essentially what I have for us before we move forward.
Sounds robust. Looks like we're doing some things.
We're doing things.
We're
not things,
doing a lot.
Excuse me.
We're doing a lot.
Yeah. So welcome everybody to the live stream. And again, just a general reminder, we're talking about consciousness today. Third eye. And our card again, what we thought yesterday, we do not have to choose to think tomorrow. We are the responsible party. We are responsible for our own experience. Why is this important, Lauta? Why do we need to know this truth?
Well, it's consciousness is much misunderstood, but if we would start at the thought of we are not our bodies, our consciousness occupies our bodies or our souls or our recognition of the essence of who we are, and that everything is conscious. The plants that are in this room, everything that is here, the things that were made by other people, they imbued their consciousness into it. The food I ate today had the consciousness of the cooks.
Yeah, we didn't even tell them about the food. It's okay. We'll come back to that.
So everything has consciousness and everything has levels of awareness, and in the levels of awareness is the experience of evolution. So what is really being said in that is that, as we know about, or we have all heard about neuroplasticity,
Yes.
that's a truth of all of creation. Everything is able to change. Everything is more elastic. Everything's got rubber band energy. You know, we can change our bodies with our mind. We can change our minds with our mind. We can change what grows out of the dirt with our own intention. We can change how we receive the air that we breathe and exhale. We can do it passively by breathing in, or we can do it with more aggression by breathing out. So the bigger understanding here is that you are not set unless you decide to be. You are not finished just because you were born. Your DNA is not sealed. And these understandings are very important to have, because wherever you find yourself, you can be somewhere else. You can be better. Or you can experience, you can have the lesson of wherever you are. And go from there wherever you would like to go.
That sounds so free. You're like, look, you could do with this, you could do with that. I have a thought.
It's the free will, free won't.
Yeah.
You know, you free to
To thrive and live, or free to suffer. Groundhog Day.
And it's all right, because, you know, the soul is challenged with degrees of different experiences. The strength that you gain through whatever contrast or experience that you have that's challenging, you get to keep it. You don't, your body may expire. You may leave the earth plane. You get to keep the strength and the wisdom. There's no
That's
downside
powerful.
to this. You know, it's a beneficent universe.
Okay, so I already had a thought, but that just triggered a thought. So I'm going to speak to that and go back a little bit. But it's so empowering, because this idea of like, it brings the mind beyond the now. You know, the finite understanding of like, it's only this reality. And then the limitation associated with that. It's like, oh, there's more. I'm continuing on, and like the greatness that I've developed can go with me into the next
The
experience.
teacup is the ocean. We sit in our teacup. I'm in my orange teacup. You know, we sit in our teacup and we think that it is the ocean. It is not.
No, it's the teacup, Walter. You just told us it's the teacup.
Yes, but the ocean is everything you have ever been through, every experience you have ever had has been gifted to you to make you stronger. And sometimes you need a little remedial gifting.
That's right. A slow bus. All right.
Sometimes you married three of the same person 3 times before it, but you have probably gotten the lesson, ooh, I like that. And maybe that's not the best thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
I know what that's like. I know you know what that's like. You know what I mean? Okay, so speaking of which, because everything you're saying keeps bringing me back to this thought that was triggered when you mentioned the breath. So in Light Body, we talk about the torus, the toroidal field. And what's inside of you is unfolding out. And when I was thinking about this card of what we thought yesterday, we do not have to choose to think tomorrow. What I have seen, observable through my experience, is that we are pulsing same information, cycling, until we decide to respond differently and think differently. And it's so interesting, because it's like the moment we think different or respond differently, there's the bump up, there's the increase. It's like you move into a higher level, but it does require to like detach. There's things within the field or the hologram that we feel like such a connection to, or it's kind of affirming our identity. Even in the suffering of it, there's still this, oh, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. So is there anything that within the person specifically that would be required to like snap out of it? Or is it just the press has to be hard enough from the repetition of keep getting hit and hit or running into the wall to course correct the information that continues to flow through the field?
It is true that some people get close to 40 and they start to see, because different decades that you're in, different things are important to you. What was important to you in the first decade when you were 10 and what's important to you when you were 30 are different. However, what's important to you when you were 30 is different than what's important to you when you were 40. So it is true that as the consciousness, we're talking about consciousness, as the consciousness expands and you know more and you're more familiar and you understand more, there's more opportunity. And there are statistics that support that many people hit a wall right around 40. And then they start moving out of being magnetized to being in the street, fast cars, the things that, motorcycles, things that are dangerous and difficult, or that they wanted to experience and had the right to do so, but they may move back from that a little bit because their priorities may change. They may be more concerned about their children's health, or they may be more concerned about humanity, or
that body might not be able to do what it used to do.
well,
It's like, oh, my knees.
and there is that. there is that they may have done it enough.
Yeah, it's like, I'm good. I'm too old for that.
And the being magnetized to the skateboard or the motorcycle or the brown party liquor. Your stomach might hurt.
Yeah.
You may have to get up and go to work. All of these things. So that is a truth that does happen. However, it is the conversation we're having right now that is more powerful. The understanding that you do not have to remain the same. That is the more powerful understanding, because without that, you can't choose. And without choosing, you can't get the result. So the knowing that you don't have to be sick. I have been sick and then not been sick for my own efforts. You can change the way you look. You can grow your hair. You can not grow your hair. You can do whatever it is you want to do. But the world that we live in and the field, as you spoke about, the torus field, is only recycling what it constantly recycles until there's an opportunity for you to expand. And this is consciousness. Oh, I don't have to be this way. I don't have to die the death of my parents and my grandparents. I don't have to have the diseases they had. I have the plasticity through my thinking to change that. I don't have to eat the same food, do the same thing, and it have the same outcome. That is the bigger gift, and that's the gift that we give today.
That's powerful. I want to take into another direction. You spoke about DNA, but my mind is also going to other things like astrology and this idea of being fixed, and how in some cases people will utilize it as an excuse to sustain the status quo. Or this is how I'm a, I don't know, Cancer or a Taurus or a Sag, and this is just how I behave. And like knowing that we can change DNA, that doesn't have to be such, but like where's the room for growth and where's the truth within concepts like this?
This is, there have been so many gifts: numerology, human design, astrology, all of the I Ching, all of these wonderful gifts have been given to humanity because we were kind of bumping into the walls.
Yeah.
Like
blindfolded, stubbing our toes, walking on Legos.
And we can see in the world right now that hasn't actually changed. So these are gifts that were given to us as maps for humanity in the time we think of ourselves as being in the most enlightened time, but we're really kind of in the dark ages.
Oh, yeah.
And so in the absence of things like soul clearings, in the absence of understanding that you need to have internal spiritual hygiene, that in the absence of that, you got those other things which have truth in them, and this is where you'll go if you do nothing. It's like saying, if you never clean the bathroom, we'll show you what's going to happen. You're going to end up, you'll have one corner that you can go into. So these things have been guides and gifts for humanity. We never tire of hearing about ourselves. There's so many, and everything. We are our names, our numbers, our planets, all of this, it should be showing us that we are the field, that we are everything, that all things are one thing. because they're all telling us the same thing, and they all actually are very accurate. But they're accurate in the absence of something higher. So once you start getting soul clearings, your numerology doesn't apply the same way. Once you start getting soul clearings, your astrology isn't it doesn't apply to you the way it applies to someone who didn't. Because now you have taken on the power of being able to use your consciousness to change the plasticity of your field. So you can decide that if the attribute given to your sign is somebody who's angry, you can choose to not be angry. And your sign won't make you keep yelling at people. Like it doesn't have the power that people attribute to it, although it is the truth, but it's to be understood.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. And you saying that, what arises in my mind is the 21-day transmutation that we utilize to help integrate the new thought.
Yes.
To work with neuroplasticity to create the new neural pathways, and how I have seen through observation that life requires a pulse, a consistent pulse of the information before the integration can fully take place and adaptation. And it's on every plane, like whether it's like you're stretching and you're becoming more nimble, fasting, getting used to being without or abstaining, or creating a new thought and behavior. It requires a little time, I've noticed. And I know that things can accelerate due to the excitement of the pursuit, but it still requires a little time, just like it takes to grow greens or something.
Yeah, this is physical reality, and we have to change a habit takes at least 21 days. And really what you're doing in the 21-day transmutation, which we highly recommend, I have seen it change addictions, smoking, food, all kinds of things, is the dedication to do it. You have to sit with it so many times a day, 5 times a day, and you have to do it for 21 days, and you have to visualize, and you have to be clear, and you can't be confused, and you can't be like, I don't want to do it, or I don't feel like I should do it. You can't be in 2 minds.
Yeah,
or you'll stay in 2 minds. Yes.
Yes.
The clarity of identifying what you have to write down what it is. You have to clarify and identify. Then you have to imagine what that looks like. You have to picture it. And then you have to be congruent with it. You can't say, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. I want to do it, but they won't like me if I do it. The people who like me now are not going to like the new me.
So I want to share that in the 21-day, I feel like the person who's doing that, they're not doing 21-day appropriately, because there's a section that says, sit and visualize and see the new you. When you see what the new you can do, you may have a reconsideration regarding the old pattern and also how it feels. So for example, because I'm probably about like 13, 14 days in reassessing 21 days. And it's something that should be revisited, especially if you're ongoing through an evolutionary process. However, one of the things that I see is that with the 21-day, taking time at the end, after we release the thought forms associated and the interferences, you sit at the end and just see yourself as the new expression. And like the charge that I get from being in that space, it builds a lot of contrast. But even prior, it's this idea of like deciding, as you often say, so I was going to ask the question, but I feel like we're kind of speaking on it. The being wishy-washy, not following all the way through. I have heard from people that even doing maybe like a week of it, they have seen changes. But what I've noticed is that it doesn't stick. It's like, for example, I'll use this example. People who maybe ended a relationship and, they're like, all right, I'm ready to get back on the market, but you've only been out of the relationship for like 2 weeks. Like, I'm ready. I've changed myself. It's like, no, you still the old self. It takes the time and the pulsing to inform the field. And I feel like it's much like that, where we may see change, but the time is required to see the field inform. But I feel like there's also notable markers where, and I've experienced this as well, where it's like you see, oh my gosh, I am unconsciously doing the new habit. the new thing. I'm stepping into it, and I feel like these are very strong indicators that you're on the upswing or kind of pivoting into a new trajectory. Like, how does that land, or what are your thoughts on
Well,
that?
I have personally done it many times with great success sometimes and success and other times, you know.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah,
So however it works if you work it. The issue I think most people have is I think that many people are not fully grounded in what they want.
that's major.
You know,
Yeah.
like they want to not have their relatives bother them, but they don't. You know, because it serves something. Like everything serves something. So you get to be the victim if they get to be the aggressor. So if you stop them from being the aggressor, now you're responsible for being the hero. And so
And I feel like the person's like, I wasn't ready for that.
yeah, I didn't know when I was gonna go sit at the end and look that I had to be the one who now has to kill the dragon.
Look, do you have any idea how good you're gonna look in your cape, in your hero outfit or heroine outfit? I'm telling you.
So there is that aspect, but there's also the aspect of being comfortable with what you have chosen. Like everything's going fine. There's no police on my lawn. The war is not here. I got food in the refrigerator. You know, I could change, but you know, I'm willing to settle for whatever it is.
So what's that about? What
That's
if
like
people
poverty.
find
It's
themselves in that?
it's like it's desire and detriment. It's like poverty. Like you get to you figure out how to navigate poverty. It's no big deal. It don't feel painful no more. So you don't really reach out of that space.
Yeah, it's like content, but in detriment.
Yes, it's content and detriment. It's like I'm being aggressed, I'm being molested, but I'm still alive. I've got the things I need.
Look, I know we're all about glass half full versus half empty. But sometimes that cup needs to be poured into. Dump that old water out.
Yes, but that's not every human. I've been doing this for a long time. Not every human has reached that point, and there's a bridge that people walk across, and it may be that you do this 15 times before you decide, okay, I'm willing to release the desire and detriment I have for whatever the thing is that you're getting. There's always a payoff, whatever the payoff is that you're getting that's keeping you the same.
Thank you for that, because I was just about to ask, what's the thing? It's the payoff. There is, even in the negative, seemingly negative, the soul is still gaining something. There's something that they want from it.
Yeah, I can remember being really poor, and I can sew, so I could make clothes. I could go into a thrift store and remake something, and I can remember being so pleased with myself that I was being creative. So that was my payoff. I could be creative with new stuff. You know, I don't have to be creative with, but I remember feeling so accomplished that I had navigated my poverty.
What changed?
I did. I
Well,
decided that
definitely the consciousness. Excuse me. What within your consciousness shifted that perspective? Because a lot of people relate to that.
as I understood more about elevation and purity, I understood that everything had been contaminated by, whether you're in a restaurant and there's somebody in the kitchen cursing while they cook your food, whether you're using a machine that people have cursed out the machine and you're trying to sew something, that everything, I'm a property clearer.
Yeah.
As I recognize that everything has the emotional imprint of everyone who has ever touched it, it changed the way I thought about everything and everybody, you know, and the desire to be in the hygiene, in the highest hygiene, so I could grow became more important to me.
I have a separate trail I'd like us to take an expedition on. The necessity of humans shifting from the focus of the physical glamour of a thing and as it appears to what's the frequency of it, because I'm finding more and more with people, places, circumstances to not take it at face value, What's the energetic signature of this thing that I'm interfacing with? Would you speak a little bit about
And
that?
that's really what I'm talking about, is
Yeah.
that when I was numb to those kinds of thoughts, it allowed me to have other connecting thoughts that did not encourage me to grow beyond wherever I was. As I learned more about frequency and the signature of what people say and do around you, and what it's like when somebody, for instance, somebody's living in the house with you, you are growing and expanding, and they are depressed, and then they are no longer a frequency match for the environment that you're in. This is exactly the same scenario where just as much as it may have served me, and it did, it was the bridge I walked across. Poverty was the bridge I walked across to get to a better place. So that I realized that poverty was in the mind. That, and then of course the material just followed. You know, the materialization of what I thought manifested itself. If I thought small and comfortable, then I got small and comfortable. As I thought bigger, I got bigger. It wasn't bestowed upon me. I thought a thought that got me bigger. As I learned to be more generous and to give more, more came back to me. And when you have poverty thinking, you think, oh, I can't give. I have to keep it.
Yeah, because what if I don't have
Yes,
anything
yes.
else? That's all I got.
And so when you think like that, then you cap your growth financially. You cap your spiritual growth too, because you're afraid to give, as if there were that you only had, like, you only have 3 inches of giving. If you give me 3 inches, then you have no more that you can give. You know, but that's not the way the world works. It's like saying anything else that wasn't physical. I often make the joke that they didn't have any more names in my town, so I had to give my daughter my name. We only had 3 names. We didn't have, it's the same idea. These things are mental constructs that become the boulders in the way of transmutation. And it's the same thing when we watch our parents. We watch a parent who's an addict, and in the back of our mind, we're informed. And we decide, I'm not going to be that kind of addict, then we turn out being another kind of addict.
Yeah.
And then our children are born, and then they're addicts, because we haven't utilized the ability to shift our identity through consciousness. We can choose to be different. And different isn't always greater in everyone's eyes. Like, you might choose to go live off the grid on very little. Not everybody would think that was a good thing. People who have airplanes and lots of cars would think, you're a loser. So not everybody thinks the same thing, but it doesn't really matter, because you are your own universe. And then you can decide how much of your authority you will give to another person. So this plasticity of identity is a very important aspect of consciousness, because mostly people think, and I have heard many metaphysical people say, you can't change consciousness. But because I have lived long enough, I know that's not true, because I've seen consciousness change in myself first, and then in other people around me. So consciousness can change. You can move, just as you can plummet to lessons that feel like they're less conscious. You can become an alcoholic, or you can become a drug addict, or you can become poor, you can live on the street. Those are consciousness changing.
We can go in either direction.
You can go in either direction. So it's not true that consciousness doesn't change. We are the barometer of that. However, many things have to happen to us to answer what you were saying earlier, where people don't adhere to it because they're in process. It's okay. So I had to do it 15 times. It worked on the 16th time. You know, you keep moving towards the thing you want, and don't become disappointed, because there is nowhere else to go but further. There is no death. You are an eternal being. There's nowhere else to go. Ascension is inevitable. Now, if it takes how many millions of years it takes you, you know, they said in the Bible, it took 7 days. That's a
And
God time?
I was just about to say, you like, is that God time?
Yeah, that's
Like
so
celestial days or
it takes
earthbound?
however long it takes. It takes however long in physical reality. May take you, people say, you should be somewhere else. You're 30, you should be doing something. Or you're 60, you should be retired. Or all of that is nonsense.
I agree.
It takes whatever it takes. It takes however long it takes. It takes however much energy you have. If you can keep yourself healthy and breathing, you've got more of a runway. But even if you don't, if you decide to exit, you still got forever. There is no death. So you still have everything in front of you, and your lesson is still there for you to have it. And the wisdom that you have learned through all of these experiences will help you on the way. And it is only the way our culture is designed that constantly encourages us to think less of our own achievement. You know, we do something, somebody else doesn't think it's a good idea, so then they get upset about your life.
Well, that sounds like a solar plexus issue to me.
It is, it's an identity issue. So the way that we can best serve ourselves is to see the beauty, look at the highest experience that can come from everything. What's the best, highest experience of you eating McDonald's? What's the best thing that can happen from that? What's the highest frequency that can happen from that? Do you learn not to do that? Do you have enough difficulty that you have a thorough understanding?
Of what not to do?
Or what? And then do you take that wisdom with you on to the next lifetime? It all serves us. And for those who are around who think you're a slow learner, that may be so, but it sounds like if they think that, they are too. They haven't learned how to be supportive. You don't know how to support someone by helping them understand the science and the nutrients and how the body works, and that you're trying to make a body work with the wrong stuff.
I was having a combo with your grandson about the lack of support within a person's growth and how, again, our consciousness can reinforce the negative, or in this case, stunt their growth and process, versus having the knowledge, imparting it, being of support, holding space, as people say, versus, pushing them down into the same position they're in consciously.
Yeah, sometimes people need to be quiet.
Yeah, like shut your thoughts up, not your mouth. Shut your thoughts up. You thinking too loud and wrong. It don't feel good.
It's that judgment has blades all around it.
Yeah,
It cuts you no matter. It'll cut you either way.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like, what are you gaining from it? Having to check myself, where I'm like, look, it ain't even worth the energy. It's like, because what are we gaining from the judgment?
So you learn to stop trying to control people through your negative thought. Judgment is, I'm going to think negative thoughts onto you. You need to go do what I think you should do.
I'm over here thinking, you know how retarded that sounds? And I say that because in the mind of the person who's doing that, who's projecting these thoughts, they think that this is going to make them better in some shape or form, or like, yeah, I'm going to say this and this is what it is. And like, that's not supportive. It's just like arguing and yelling at a person if they do something correctly. It's not conducive to operating correct.
Yeah, there's so many examples of our authority figures doing the same thing. People like, I know better. We're going to take out your tonsils. You don't need tonsils. We can't see why you should have them. And while we're in there, we're going to take out your appendix because there's no need for that. We see no need. And you're fine with 2 strands of DNA. So, it's from...
I walk out that room. Even if I had the little sheet on, I will walk out.
It's fine. It comes to us from the ones that we have allowed to control us.
Yeah.
And until we're tired of it, until we get fully saturated with understanding what it is, and that their fear of not having control of us is really what we're combating. Like, I need to piece you apart or send you frequencies that make you sick so that you will continue to be compliant with what I want because I'm in control. And until we grow our consciousness to the level of, no, you do it. You eat that poison. You have a McDonald's. You're the one. Let's take out your tonsils. Let's give your children iPads. Let's make sure your children get plugged in, you know. So that's what's happening. We have not yet decided. We're too magnetized to the shiny things. And the shiny things are killing us.
This is what I was alluding to with the idea of the field and pulling back the false light.
But it
with the
doesn't
shiny
happen.
things.
You don't demagnetize until you demagnetize.
Well, of course, because
Like, you want to hear the music, you want to
Yeah.
watch the comedian, you want to take the drug, you want to eat the thing that you have the appetite for, you want to sleep with the person that you know, all of these things are you. That's you in self-sabotage with you. But it isn't just you. You are the other me. So I'd like for you to get a grip and love yourself more. So the solution to that is those who do see and do know, love yourself enough that we inform the field. Because we are you. All that is us. It's like Toys R Us.
Yeah. RS, yeah. It's funny because it's kind of a callback to what you were saying about how we feel about giving an inch to our other self and the necessity to expand our consciousness to see there isn't loss, especially if the other self is in support of us.
Yes.
You know, to give a little, it's like what our guidance says, service to the whole.
It is.
You know, and how it feeds back in to support us.
And in the beginning, normally, unless we teach the children this, and I was certainly not taught this, I wasn't taught against it, but it wasn't a factor in my upbringing. Unless you're taught to be delighted, excited, and enthusiastic for someone, you default to something else.
Oh, well, you know, humans, we stay in the seas, competing and complaining, critiquing, criticizing. And,
So the teaching could be to adults and others, be delighted. Like, haven't I described something today that you can be delighted about the fact that you are eternal? You can be excited about the fact that you are learning and that goes with you, that's not left behind with the body, that as you move forward, your wisdom and your strength moves forward with you. If you're the hero today, you're the hero tomorrow. It's there. It's in the mix. Now, whether it arises because you're learning other things is another thing, but it's in the bucket. So these things should be delightful and exciting to people to know, and let them realize that you were, excuse me, you were never meant to just be one thing. You were never meant to be, you know, in the way history has been shared with us, is how I'll say it, is that people were born a peasant and they died a peasant and their parents were born a peasant. People who were rich were born rich and then their children were born rich and then their children were born rich. That's what they want us to think. That's not necessarily the way it has to be, but if you don't become delighted, excited, and enthusiastic, it most certainly will be that way. If you don't know, if you don't have the clarity, which is what I was talking about, you need to know there are options. Then you can choose, and then you can have the reality. And that's part of the wisdom and the strength in the lesson.
That's something that's major because like you say, we've been conditioned to think that, like, for example, I'm going to use the context of the peasant where the field is reinforming the peasant.
Yes.
Because so there's a visceral, like, the DNA, the environment, there's other peasants around, a peasant village, and so all they see is peasantry. But I know for a fact that it doesn't matter what the field is saying.
Right.
You can change and reinform and broadcast and keep pulsing that. And I feel like that's one thing that's been hidden from us to, like you say, it's hereditary.
We have
You know,
very
you can't
few
change
examples. We have very few examples of being the shine instead of the reflection.
Yeah.
You look in the mirror, you see the reflection, and you believe it. But that's not the truth. You are the originator, the authentic article, you can then be what the reflection will be after you decide who you are, even in your process of changing.
Right, that's that chicken or the egg talk right there. Which one comes first?
What comes first
the all of
is
the above.
what's in your mind and what you would want to happen. Then your disbelief determines how much of it comes true. You don't believe it, it doesn't come true.
Yeah.
So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you, and we have examples in history, very little is written about, that, but there are people who have overcome that. I love the example of Muhammad Ali. I am the greatest. I don't care what the field is saying. I am the greatest. I don't care what the field is saying. I won't go to Vietnam. I don't care what you say. I am the greatest, and that's that time slot for that time when he said that is relevant and can be used to help encourage people to know what a wonderful thing to say about yourself. I am the greatest. Most of us feel ridiculous saying such a thing. However, he did enough activity that convinced him.
Yeah. I'm of the mind of you got to say the things that no one else is going to say.
Absolutely.
And do for you, because most of us we've been conditioned to want other people to tell us how great we are, and wait on the field to validate that which is within. But I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so backwards. It's inverted. It's not even how it works.
But it is true that if you are the authentic aspect of shine, you will reflect that, and then then the field will acknowledge you. But it may not happen, this week.
Yeah, you gotta keep.
It might, but in most cases, you have to thoroughly indoctrinate your field.
Yes.
And if you're unsure, or if you don't know, or if you're confused, or if you feel bad, you're not informing the field. You're not at a sign that can create the next thing yet, but it's still a path across the bridge. The fact that you're trying is a path. So it's consciousness is it is possible to expand it. It is possible to grow it. All things have it. It comes with you. It exists in everything. The galaxy is conscious. The sun is conscious. The air is conscious. All things are consciousness, and if we understood that, we can tap into it. And if we want to, then the things that are in nature have the necessary light that will help us move forward so that we can be in excitement. Every plant has light around it. Every flower, every tree, because they are the shine. And what you think of them is not diminished for their shine. Now, they can be overwhelmed by a forest full of people wanting to chop down trees, but in general, they hold their own space and their own sovereignty as the light. And they are our example. And when we are talking to ourselves, we should remember we're talking to someone that we love. When we talk to us, we should be talking to ourselves that way, and of course to others. But we should talk to ourselves like, I love and want the best for you. Shine. Pay no attention to the reflection.
All right, so you're just letting us know for the record, you can talk to yourself. Matter of fact, you're already doing it. You're already doing it. And probably not so pleasant and sweet. But classic but powerful. I feel like this has been a solid podcast in terms of exploring consciousness, but through this lens of the malleability of consciousness and how it can change and all the different facets of it. So typically we would go to commercial break. However, the user interface isn't loading the media. So I feel like maybe just check out some of the comments in the chat. And
absolutely.
It's pretty lit up.
I'd like to say that this is the solution to everything. Knowing that you are flexible, you are plastic, that everything about you can change at any time, and that it's up to you is the solution to every situation that's uncomfortable, unpleasant, or that you don't want to do.
I just had a thought, thinking about the condition that humanity finds itself in, that took time.
Yes.
The fact that this has happened, oh my gosh, I'm over here thinking about biology too, like how malleable it is. Even like fasting, I'll use that as an example, where like you can start off where like your body's not used to it, but then you post a little bit, you start doing some intermittent, and then your biology starts adapting. But the first example was like human consciousness and how we've operated. The very condition we find ourselves in speaks to the principle of we can change, because we did change.
I think a good example would be social, like when you were 18 or around that age as a teenager and you wanted to really help humanity and the people around you.
Save the trees and the
Yes.
wells.
And then you grew into realities of understanding you took on different understandings that dampened that aspect of yourself. Some people still ended up that way, but we could probably count them on one hand. Not as many people ended up still wanting to be that experience that arose in us naturally. It was kind of dampened out of us over time, and now we're hopefully renewing that aspect. But that's a perfect example of what you just said. It works in both directions, but it would be really good for us to understand that it is our own excitement, our own enthusiasm, our own delight that can jump a timeline. We don't have to take 3 years to change.
No. I've learned, like, you get excited enough,
Yeah. But you have to
molecules
hold the
start
pitch.
firing.
It's what you said. You have to hold the pitch. You got to hold it every day, 5 times a day. You got to do it, do it, do it, do it, or you get to stay the same. You get to keep yourself
Yeah.
the way you are.
In the current state. Because you that's somewhere in there is real cool and great, but, like, you got to do some things differently.
And we can see that from our parents.
Yeah.
And from our grandparents. We can see that once they picked up a habit, smoking, drinking, acting out, cursing, whatever it is, being sick, they kept it up until they left here. I think I'll just keep this going.
That's all they know. It's like, all I know.
It's like blood pressure or anything else. Like, just take this till you die. It's not going to cure you. Take it until you are no more.
I don't want to allow to. I don't want to.
So I'd love to hear what our comments are today.
The chat is lit up. There's a lot of activity in here. I don't even know where to start right now, but let's go up a little bit more. Just kind of give a shout out. First off, thank you all for sticking with us in this live stream. It's been such a stimulating conversation. It gives us much to think about. And drop a little like, hit that like. If it shows hype, if you can hype the video, sometimes it shows it, sometimes it don't. Do so other people can see this, or share it on one of your other platforms. So we have, let's see here, I gotta call them out. I am Elijah Woods. Peace, happiness, love, a massive abundance of truth, prosperity, wisdom, positive transmutations. Russ Golston says, eraser in hand, so he's erasing. Russ was in class. Russ was erasing. Lelio and Eddie, Emily Kesha Veritas is here, Elizabeth's in the house. There's a couple of other people in the house. Stephanie Singletary's in the house. Stacy OTS in the house. Lauren in the house. Diane is literally in the house. She's right there. Lelio and Eddie says, I already been singing. I feel that throat chakra energy.
Yes, that's right.
Shaka Warrior says, much appreciation and gratitude and love, Lautzen Tavares, for the continued sharing of your knowing and wisdom, such insightful and vibrant sun souls.
Thank you.
It looks like, all right, here we go. We get into some questions. I feel like the repetition allows for deeper integration of the wisdom that was learned. I see in my life that the lessons are the same, but from different angles, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. All of us are informed differently. Our genetics informs us differently. Our ancestry informs our pains, our sorrows inform us differently. It's all right. The solution remains the same.
Certainly. We got a comment from Shaka Warrior. Yes, we are not bound by our old narratives, emotional imprints, or conditioned thinking. We can interrupt patterns, realign with truth, and consciously choose thoughts that reflect your higher self.
That's right.
There's a lot of comments here. You are active. This is cool. This is good. All right, so got people shouting out lately on "You are your own universe." You, it's a you thing.
Yeah, it's one song, one verse of poetry.
That's right.
And it's you who decide what should be in the poem and what song you will sing.
She also says, "You are unprocessed. That's okay. Yes, thank you for this message. It reminds me that the danger only lies in giving up and not trying, because
Yes.
then you do nothing and nothing changes."
You know, I often say that if you do no thing will happen.
Yeah, it's so simple, but you sit and think. You could think on that all day, like, damn, no thing will happen. I would just think just status quo all day.
There ain't no thing.
Well, oh, hold on a second. This is funny. Hello, this reminds me of the McDonald's CEO that did not want to eat that new sandwich. He looked disgusted. There's been a lot of videos out of him holding it in his cheek, taking his little.
He was not.
This product is delicious. Not this burger. Not this meat.
He was not inspiring.
No, uninspired. We got some other good comments here. Let's see. Elijah Wood, peace. When I meet another soul for the first time, I put into practice finding, seeing, and complimenting the beauty in them. That's a good
Absolutely.
technique.
That's that idea of allowing yourself to see the truth that is in them, that is in you. That's in Lakesh. I see the God in you. I see the beauty in you. I see the truth in you.
Just a moment. Excuse me, we're going to ask for the background audience to refrain from making sounds in the kitchen. I don't know if you all can hear her rapping. Yeah, I'm calling you out. All right, so thought. What's up with us as humans where when we see a person and then there's, the judgment, the negative, like it's almost like the automatic reaction instead of this like, human.
It's our dissatisfaction with self.
That's deep.
No matter what you believe, you are your other self. We are all one, whether you believe it or not. So when you look at another and you're dissatisfied with self and you're disgruntled with your own progress and so you find something to be contrary about. Well, I don't like your glasses. And then the other person has to then digest the negative experience that has just hit them and then rebound with, but I do. I count, in this case, on my face, those glasses counts more for me.
Yeah.
And that's what is sometimes exhausting for us. In marriages and raising children, sometimes we're exhausted by that understanding.
This is bringing to mind what we do in the energetic protection and defense class, the necessity to regularly call back your power, to send things back, because life has shown me, this is happening on a constant basis. Just due to the nature of where human collective consciousness is operating, we must account for such a thing.
We regain our freedom that way.
Yeah.
That's how we get our freedom back. We cannot pretend that as we walk through the earth plane, as we move through our day, as people drive by our houses, that they don't have thoughts. That people that we interact with and the people who we are eating with, people we work with, don't have thoughts that need to be hygienically cleaned.
Yeah. Like, stop tracking dirt in my temple, okay?
Yes.
Stop it. Shoes off. At the door.
And we can tell this because we can hear the voice of social media and how pleasant it is. I have recently gotten an app that I'm not going to use anymore because I noticed that every story and everything was a knot of joy and pleasant. There was nothing like, everything is so beautiful. Look at this beautiful, have this wonderful, this is so great. And it wasn't like that. It was the opposite of that. And so that is wearing on you, and it changes the frequency of the viewer. And we become so normalized to it, we don't realize we were happy when we got on, and now we're not.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
the exposure.
I mean, that's
just...
and we all know this, but if the way I'm saying it is to say it like it's simple enough to say to a child the way I'm saying it to you. There's all kinds of evidence and mountains of reasons why, but this simple thing is you don't feel as good as you did, which is an indicator it's not as good as you thought it was.
Yes, and so I'd like to go back to what you were saying about it's not like we don't know it. I think we intellectually know it, but I was having a conversation with your grandson about this, like interpreting frequency. How does it feel in this conversation? Is the information that they're sharing strengthening me, or are they leaving me on a cliffhanger of fear about something, and now my field's contaminated? Like, what's really happening through this exposure? And knowing, I think, is also translated with embodiment, which looks like I'm distancing myself from this, or there's only so much of this I'll expose myself to, or if I do expose myself, I'm able to, get it up off me, make sure I don't have any debris.
Well, I think what comes to mind from what you've said is to activate our response ability, the ability to respond to, like, I wouldn't let somebody come up and put trash on my front door.
It sounds
I wouldn't
so
let it.
simple
I
what
wouldn't
you're
let
saying, but
that.
it's so
I would
major.
say, no, take that away with
Yeah.
you. I am the responsible party here. You don't live here. Why are you dumping your trash on my front steps or in my bedroom or in my kitchen? So there's this. There's more than just the recognition. There's the response. You are responsible. You have the ability to respond. Someone does something that disturbs the peace or contaminates the environment, you can't just say, oh, well, unless you want to live in that experience, which is what happens.
So I want to take it back to what you're saying, because this is major. I feel as though it takes an extra amount of awareness, like in being present for the responsibility to be engaged when you're on social media, because by default, the nature of viewing the screen and swiping, it is a relinquishing of responsibility. It's like the engagement I'm making you responsible for making me laugh or for entertaining me. So it's a funny type of space to be in that I can just simply see it requires just being more conscientious in the moment. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes, it does require being more conscientious, but there also has to be the payoff of feeling like I have not lost. When people are on social media, because it's not a simple matter of just talking to someone, it's a brain drain.
Yeah.
It's psychoactive technology mining the brains of everyone who watches it. So it's sophisticated. So I like to go back to the idea of what we say to raise our vibration. Before every class we call for the truth. We call to see the truth in everything that we see. I'd like to see the truth in my devices. I call to hear the truth. I don't want to hear lies and AI made up stuff. And then we say, I call for the courage to speak the truth. That means to self and others. I need to speak the truth to myself. Do I care enough about me to find a way to get my news and entertainment that doesn't contaminate me and deconstruct my brain and body? And so that requires us to be sober enough to invent new things. That puts it back on us. Who invented the things that it is the enemy who invented the things.
And we just over here, Stockholm Syndrome.
And the enemy doesn't let their children use them. And it's very well documented that they don't give them iPads. They don't let their children use phones. So this requires, the responsibility is we need to get together, get a think tank, get people who can think about things and be creative. And there's no, they did it. It means it's doable. You can do it on the right as well as you can do it on the left. So we'll do what's right and they can do what's left over. We'd leave it like that. I'm going on along, but yeah.
It's okay. The people are here for it. They're still hanging. However, I think this would be an ideal time to cut it. I mean, there's still more comments, and however, we do thank you all for the comments, the thoughts, the energy exchange. May you continue to find value in these highly vibrational conversations, where it stimulates the necessity to assess our lives, to see where can we be more of the truth, where have we been less of the truth, what's draining and pulling on our power.
Yeah, call for the courage.
Yeah.
Call for the courage to open that throat chakra. Call for the courage to speak the truth in the face of that which is not the truth. Whatever that happens to be, you'll be shocked and surprised that it collapses because it's not used to being confronted.
Yeah, it's like, oh snap, they're standing up. Gulliver, right?
Yeah. So we thank you all so much for joining us. We hope to see you again next week in Lakesh and Veritas with honor, respect, gratitude, integrity, discipline, and action. Thank you.